What up? What up? Welcome to the show that is happening. I do not know if I am buffering right now or if you are seeing me clearly. On my end, it looks like I am not coming through clearly. I don't know. Okay. I think that I am coming through clearly. If anybody can comment, that would be nice so I can know for sure. Oh, what is going on? Rain is going on here right now. I drove through insanity to get back here and do this stream. It's been a perfect week of weather. Like it's not been it was really hot on Monday afternoon, and then all of a sudden it just stopped and became cool that evening, and it's been decently cool the last couple of days, but oh my lord, I just drove through some of the hardest rain I've ever driven through down here, and not good. Yeah, if you're trying to make it on time for a live stream. Yeah, I don't know if this is it looked good for a second, but now my stream looks like it's messing up, so let me check this out, guys. I don't want to do this and then find out later that it was not coming through clearly for you. Sounds like the audio is good. But I am not coming through clearly, am I? Am I back? I don't know. I think you all can hear me. I don't know. I think you all can hear me. Okay. Well, I think you all can hear me. Okay. Well, my camera, I don't know why it is cutting out on me, but y'all can hear me, so I guess if the picture comes back, great. If not, let's get back to it.
That is the life of someone doing a live stream on anything. So, where was I? Yes, paddling through Florida traffic. Made it here before 5 o'clock, but I didn't even think I'd be able to do a live stream today. And then I get back to audio issues. I'm happy I have power, period. Um, yeah, so sports. It has been, it's only Thursday, and we've already had so much history made this week in multiple sports, starting with the no hitter on Monday, which was, man, that was crazy that that guy not only threw that, but then finishes the game. And he's doing the post game shout out interview. And the first thing he says is, I'm pissed about hitting that guy. That's what I'll most remember about this. No, I'm kidding about that part, but oh my lord. That's what you're thinking of. That's a true gamer right there. And I mean, to throw that game and then have what happened to you last night happen, uh that is just devastating for Hogs fans because LSU has had their number, and not just in baseball, but specifically in the College World Series. It's a tough way to go out. Man, they were there, and to blow that lead, I mean, that's one that's going to stick with you. But it does happen in life, and it does happen for sure in sports just the same. That's a team that you have to watch out for in the future. But LSU stays alive. Saturday, they will be taking on a team that has won over 25 in a row, a Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. I am such a big fan of this team and their story because my dad went there, and also just because, I mean, I've seen the growth of this program personally up front, and they are my front runner right now. I think that if anybody has the depth with the pitching, with the hitting. I mean, look at the way that they put it on the other day, playing the way that they just 11-3. That was crazy. And every time, that looked like they were losing ground, they'd just get more runs. And I think the smallest lead that they had that entire game, what was it, other than when it eventually became 6-0, was 5-0 or 5 runs. That's just a crazy stat, especially under the bright lights like that. Coastal is a team that you have to watch out for, and Saturday I cannot wait to watch that game. I think that you can't say enough about the historic performance of Gage Wood, but yes, the Arkansas Hogs fell to LSU 6-5 last night. One of the greatest games I've ever seen in baseball, period. Can they have that resiliency if they fall down against Coastal? I'm not sure, but it's exciting to see that program have the light shined on them for, an effort that we might not see this again for many years. A team that has a winning streak like this and is performing like this in the College World Series. I'm just so amped to watch that game on Saturday, which there will also be some fights on, of course, on Saturday, which I do a show now with a buddy of mine. Check out RX MMA on Instagram, YouTube. Great guy. Love his show that he does. I mean, a true MMA fan, a 19-year-old who knows that much. That's impressive. And a great host. He's got to give himself more credit, but I will be doing a show with him coming up next week. I know when he reacts to UFC Baku. I was supposed to do one last night, but he actually, similar problems to mine, he lost power, so he couldn't do a live stream. We were going to react to UFC Atlanta. There's a chance I could be jumping on one of those shows, that because he does a lot of live streams during the week. I could be jumping on one this week, but I will be traveling this weekend. So just wanted to say I could be talking MMA more on that second show. And I'd love to, but definitely check me out on Monday night there if I don't make one this weekend. And I will put a post up about that. Khalil Roundtree and Jamal Hill. It's going to be a great one. I have Khalil winning that one, but whoever does win, that's going to sting for the loser, because really that's a title eliminator if there ever has been one. Both guys who are coming off of different types of losses to Alex Pereira. How do they feel going into this one? You have that pressure on you, and Alex could not even be there. You might have to fight Magomed after sweating it out against each other in that fight, all to get that revenge against Poatan. You have to go out of nowhere and fight Magomed. I shouldn't say out of nowhere, because Magomed won the title months back, but we're going to see. And yes, you heard that right. The UFC is in Baku. I'm excited because I may have said this on my podcast before, but I will actually be in it. I was supposed to go to UFC Atlanta, but I'm going to UFC Nashville in July, and that's going to be interesting to watch Derek Lewis. Maybe in his last fight. I doubt it, but that could happen. Anything's possible, right? Look at me. I got the stream going today, and I thought I was going to be swimming in the Atlantic at one point. That point being 30 minutes before the show. But, yes, plenty of great events, and there's definitely something in the works. Saturday of UFC 317. There's so much happening that day, because you have BKFC in the afternoon, and then takes you, which I think that's one of the smartest things that BKFC could have done, was putting those fights in the afternoon before not only UFC 317, but also Jake Paul's fight, which, that is what it is, but it's going to have a lot of buzz on Twitter and all over social media afterwards. So, if BKFC manages to get some kind of highlight knockout and we have a dud of a card for UFC 317, which that's the biggest hurdle for BKFC. I don't see that happening. I think 317 is going to be one of the most exciting cards of the year. But if that happens, it's going to be so interesting if Jake Paul goes in there and lays an egg. Like, let's say he wins by decision, but it's a boring fight. I mean, BKFC, what if they stole the show? But that's, again, a tall task. So we're going to see how that plays out. But I cannot wait for that Saturday. And then, a couple weeks later, I think 2 weeks later exactly, I will be in Nashville for the Derek Lewis card, which is a daytime card. I'm just excited to go to the UFC finally live. I've never gotten to do that. I don't care if it's a daytime card. Nighttime, I get to go out and get honky tonk, get my square dance on. But I see by the end of the year, it really depends when Islam and Jack Della happens. But I want to know what you think. Do you guys think that UFC 317 is going to be the best card of the year? I think there's a very good chance of that being the case. Of course, we also have to see how UFC or how the welterweight division in the UFC plays out. Before that, if there are any fights, because nobody really was. If you truly watch the UFC as a combat connoisseur, or if you're a UFC diehard, you know that it wasn't that shocking that Marty beat Buckley, but I know a lot of people were picking Buckley, myself included, and I thought that he would be able to stuff the takedowns a little bit better. Got to where he wanted to be in the fifth, but by then it was too late. So it just goes to show what is going to happen with the welterweight division. Is Usman going to fight Bilal next? Is he going to go on a streak and take himself right back up to the top of the heap? What about Ian Gary? What about Sean Brady? What about all these guys? We have to see how this plays out. But if I had to guess, I would say Shavkat will. I think Marty and Bilal for sure. I see Shavkat fighting Jack Della. I wouldn't be that surprised by it, but Sean Brady, I mean, if Shavkat doesn't get it, does Sean Brady get it? Or does Ian Gary get it? I mean, it's just so exciting. And this is not even mentioning Buckley, who is no slouch either. So going to be thrilling to see how that division plays out. And I mean, 155, you have Ilya and Charles. How does that work out if Islam loses? Does he automatically fight the winner of that fight? I don't know. But I am so damn ready to find out. I feel like the way it's going to play out is I see Ilya finding a way to beat Charles, and eventually fighting Islam, because I don't think Islam is going to beat Jack Della. I see it being kind of similar to when Izzy fought Jan, and it was just different. Everybody was so used to the dominance of Izzy, but he was doing something a different division, and that was always the question with the Eagle was how would he do at 170? And this is the closest we're going to get. I mean, it'll really tell us a lot about Islam. This is something that, I mean, it's the biggest fight of his career yet. His legacy will be intact regardless of whether he wins or not. But how does he do here against Jack Della? And eventually we'll get to DDP and Hamzat. Where does that leave Sean Strickland? And if they can get John to stop going to the middle of Nate Diaz. I don't know. I know there's a joke there about Nate Diaz. That was a crazy scene. Him getting into that scrap doing the fighter show over in Russia, and what an image of John being there, and just how is that going to play out, guys? Do you think that the leak will turn out to be true with Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gahn? Time will tell, my friends, but I think Tom is going to at least UD Cyril in that fight. My goodness. But yeah, right now, I mean, kind of a quieter week for the UFC. I think I'm saying the UFC Baku card compared to next week and Marty beating Buckley. I mean, that card was not very exciting, but that was big for the welterweight division. I just can't wait to see how it plays out with the card next week. Because you have Volk. I mean, what happens with him? Does he jump back up to 155? And not to mention, Max, where's he going to go after Dustin does his retirement fight? Exciting time to be a fan, but there are so many questions that need to be answered. It's like, can I make it through to the end of the year is the question. Not so sure. But I'm definitely happy for Kamaru. I think he went through quite a lot, losing his belt and then losing to Leon again and going up. And I think a lot of fans, I've talked to some UFC fans about it, and they agree that I really wanted to see Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev fight each other in a 5-round fight. That would have told us so much about Khamzat at 185. It's going to be so interesting to see how he does against DDP. I mean, that's why it's an exciting time to be a fan, because I think there used to be a lot of mystery with these fighters for so long. Like Conor, I mean, he went on a tear for a year there, right, where he fought Dennis Seaver and beat Chad Mendez and beat Jose Aldo, and it took us until a year later seeing him at 170 against Nate. That's where we finally realized, okay, that's kind of the blueprint right there. Survive the threat of a knockout early, and you drain Connor's gas tank. That's what we're getting right now with Hamzat and Islam, is that we're I feel like I shouldn't say that because I mean John and Tom are not helping my argument here, but I feel like the UFC is at least now aware that people don't want to have to wait so long to figure out who a fighter really is. And I'm glad that Ilya didn't waste too much time and is going up to 155 so we can see what he's made of. But it still does kind of exist, right? We're seeing Hamzat finally jump up and fight somebody who I think is a worthy adversary in DDP. No offense to Robert Whitaker, but he wasn't fighting the Whitaker of old, the one that fought Yoel Romero and fought Izzy. I can't wait to see what happens with those three divisions. Bantamweight right now, I mean, obviously that's all Marab, and I mean with the Royval fight, I mean, yeah, I can't sleep on that matchup too. But exciting times ahead, my friend. Not to mention, if you watch other organizations, we have Logan Storley and Thad about to fight pretty soon here, right? I think that's this summer. I can't remember the date of when Logan's supposed to fight him, but those two guys, man, Logan has an impressive resume. I mean, he has fought a lot of guys, and I did not realize that until the other day when I was looking at his record. It's like, wow, this guy's taken on a lot of names. Exciting time for the PFL. I'm not even mentioning the GFL. Can't wait, guys. Combat sports is in. Boxing, I'm not going to say is dead, but we need an overhaul with boxing big time to get to where the UFC that level is right now, and with the PFL and these other things starting to get more and more attention, where is boxing going? Time will tell. And of course, the other night, congratulations to an absolute. I mean, the Florida Panthers winning that game the other night the way they did. It was an absolute perfect victory. A perfect victory. I mean, they had Edmonton flustered early. And to win games in such a dominant fashion the way they did in that series, the Panthers are one of the most impressive teams of all time. Bobrovsky, I mean, he was on fire, and I mean, they had Edmonton committing mental errors, were just so physical with him. The Panthers are highly impressive. And I don't know going into next year who the front runner is with the way free agency is today in sports. If Florida maintains that lineup, I mean, they could do it again. And I believe that they're going to at least be in the finals again. Is that so crazy to say after they've been in it for 3 years straight? The NBA, of course, TJ McConnell. I don't know. I mean, the NBA, I think it's great to see team sports making a comeback, and it's not so much about the superstars these last couple years. The NBA's been missing that, but it sounds like they have a lot of things to figure out with the fans complaining about Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson. I don't know these people personally, but when I've watched the NBA in recent years, I've not been as excited watching it. I'm not. I remember Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson. I mean, that was like I couldn't wait to get out of school and sit down and watch those games back in, around 2010, 2011. It'd be going into the summertime. Oh, it was just so beautiful, man. It was, and all the guys who were, the lineups back then who you got to watch, KG, Kobe, of course, Ray Allen, Chris Bosh. It was a beautiful time for the NBA, but who do you guys think is going to take it home this year? I'm sticking with the Pacers, but I feel like it's good whoever wins, because the NBA just started to turn into, it's all flash. It's all about, I want that camera time. That's something that's been a part of sports for a long time. Look at guys like T.O. and Deion Sanders and LeBron. But these guys, OKC really doesn't have that superstar. And I mean, you also, not to mention, you have these places that are not like LA and Boston, the big cities, especially ones that are used to winning as much as they do. You have places like Indiana that have teams that are in the championship game that could be winning. What a time, my friends. And that is my time. Speaking of time to head out. Everybody, thank you, though, for being patient today, jumping on the show here. I love doing these every week at 4 p.m. I do shows outside of just this, but I live stream every Thursday at 4 p.m. on YouTube. Check me out at POSTGAME POD Official on Instagram. I have PayPal if you feel so inclined to donate. Thank you so much. I'll buy me a coffee that is just about to launch, and we'll do this again for sure. I have some cool shows that will be dropping for you this month leading up to special event for UFC 317. I haven't done a live in a while, so like a watch along. So watch out for news on the watch party. Which guest will come in? Who knows? But can't wait to drop all these things for you. The good word's coming, and also doing a new show now with my buddy RX MMA. Check him out. Does a hell of a job hosting his MMA podcast, as well as after parties for the UFC. He does those live streams. So the guy he's on it as a fan and as a podcaster. I'm one of a few co-hosts over there, but I love doing it, man. It's such an escape from torrential downpours that are drifting me and my Nissan into the Atlantic Ocean. But be safe wherever you guys are. And thanks for tuning in. My camera, I will figure that out and have it back on next time. Until then, get posted.